presentation now. Everybody can see my title here on my slide deck. Okay, I see heads nodding. Okay, here we go. Multiple choice exams online in approximately 10 minutes. So everything from my presentation can be found at this link, which is a long link, including the slide deck that I'm showing here. So if I go too fast, or you just want a written version of this explanation, it's very similar. Okay, so the first thing to know about multiple choice exams, I've been teaching large lecture courses since 1999. They are a compromise. They basically exist because universities are understaffed and because we don't hire enough faculty members compared to the number of students. And so multiple choice tests come out of that as a way of offloading the labor of evaluation onto computers. That said, they are not much more imperfect than other kinds of tests like fill in the blank or short answers or identifications. And you can even get a few of the benefits of the essay exam if you do a multiple choice exam in the way that I do. And the approach I'm using was actually developed when we didn't have to go off campus in 2013, but it was quite successful and well reviewed by the students. Okay, so with that said, step one is change the playing field for academic integrity. So rather than having the idea of a closed book exam where students are atomized individuals who are being tested on recall, or maybe you give them a cheat sheet or something like that that they can use in the exam, throw all that out and make it open everything. So the exam can be open book, you can talk to your friends, you can look stuff up on the internet, you can take it in a noisy environment, whatever. When we did this on campus, we actually said that the classroom was the one place where they'd have to be quiet. And by the third time we did the exam, no one came to the classroom during the exam. They all did it from some other location. The second thing is encourage the students to work together and talk about the material. This is actually great because it means that you get peer mentoring and that the test, even the high pressure moment of the test, becomes an occasion for teaching and learning rather than just regurgitation. And finally, I'll say that even with this open everything compared with use of study sheets and individual test taking, I'd say the test scores on average went up less than 5%. So you're also not looking at a huge change in your grading curves or however you do that. Okay, so there are no rules for how students take the tests, but there can be rules for the tests. So I time limit them. My time limits are fairly generous, and I think we'll need this other level of flexibility with online exams. And I was actually talking about this with Carolyn yesterday, and we're gonna have to work out, well, what happens if the student's internet connection goes down and that kind of thing. But to me, those are like plumbing issues rather than big picture issues. So the first thing is you gotta set a time limit for the exam. Then every student gets a unique exam. And I'm not gonna walk you through how to do this in my courses today because that would take a lot longer than we have, except to say, let's say there's a 10-question exam. For each question, you write 4 possible questions. The answers are randomized in my courses, and which of the 4 questions the student gets in the exam is randomized, and then the order of the questions in the exam is randomized. And what that means is even with a 200 student course, very few, if any, students will have exactly the same test. So you're producing a situation where students are under time pressure, so they can't look everything up. They have to know and understand the material somewhat. They can talk to their friends, but there's still a time limit on it. And the fact that one person has taken the test does not affect another person as much, because they can't say the answer to number 3 is A. They at least have to say, here's Stuart Hall's definition of ideology as I understand it. For instance, that's something you might get in one of my classes. So this is really the core of the whole thing. So you have a test bank of questions. The students get a question for each objective. So there'd be 4 versions of the same question of like, when Stuart Hall says ideology, he means, and then there'd be 4 answers. And the system would be sort of automatically maintained by myCourses. So once you input everything, the system sort of does the rest and administers the exam. So no proctoring, no looking over student shoulders, no surveillance other than the clock. Then you got to write good questions. And this is the thing that my students struggled with the most. Multiple choice exams, as they're given in high schools, are very often tests of recognition. So there'll be the right answer and there'll be 3 wrong answers that really have nothing to do with what's going on in the course. I write questions differently, and I actually show students this recipe so they understand what I'm doing and what I'm testing for. So the ideal question stem has most of the words in the question. You don't want very long answers, and you want all of your answers to be roughly the same length. If you have 3 short wrong answers and 1 very long complicated right answer, doesn't work so well. And the reason why it's easy for me to write 40 questions for a 10 question test, besides the fact that I've been doing it for a long time, is I follow this formula. So you have the correct answer. Then you have a true statement from the same reading or a related reading, but that does not correctly answer the question. That is a test of comprehension. I read this somewhere, but wait, does it really answer the question? Third, because it's a humanities course, authors are always rehearsing arguments in order to dismiss or criticize them. And it's important that students understand the author's not arguing for this position. Again, test of comprehension. D can be the converse of one of those things. So just reversing some of the arguments or statements. And finally, because it's a media studies course, there's a lot of common sense things and even things you hear journalists say all the time about how media work that simply are not true. And so those are like real good tests of like you're paying attention to the course and not just trusting what you've been hearing your whole life about how this thing works. So I do this model, I actually show it to the students. And in the past, in 2013, for instance, we were still using clickers then rather than phones. Students had to get a clicker for my class, and every day we'd come in and we'd do a practice question from the previous class meeting. Okay, so again, you showed students almost everything about how the system works, except I do not give them samples of previous tests. And they don't get the question bank, obviously. I've even had students write questions for me, and that's awesome because then students sometimes get their own questions on tests, and you can give them a basic like check plus minus evaluation for the questions that they submit. So you can even outsource some of the creativity, which is also a learning opportunity for the student because it helps them master the system. And it also helps them master and explain the material. Okay, so that's basically an outline. I managed to do that in way under 10 minutes. So now I'm going to do a bonus round, which has nothing to do with this. This is the single most important piece of advice you will hear about online teaching. Most people use the microphones in their laptops to record them talking. And because of current decoration fashion, they do it in reverberant rooms. What happens is if students can't understand you, they turn it up and they still get that mess of sound. So you want to give your lectures when you record them in a much more absorbent room. You can't see it in the room I'm in, but there's all this absorption on the roof because I'm an audio nerd. I'm using a third-party microphone, so I'm doing it a little differently. But if you're recording into a laptop, do yourself a favor and either get a quilt that you have or buy a $20 moving blanket from Canadian Tire, hang it behind you. Your voice will come through much more clearly, like, for instance, someone on the radio, rather than the sort of echoey sound that we often hear in Zoom meetings, and that is actually part of the fabled Zoom fatigue. Okay, here's your gratuitous retro high-tech cat picture, and here are some links to some other online teaching resources, and I'll leave that up for just a second before I stop sharing my screen. And that is multiple choice exam theory for the online era in under 10 minutes.
So Jonathan, I'm going to break my own protocol and just ask you a quick question. And this also
Yes, of
gives Sunyung
course.
a little more time to log on, because I know she's having some log on problems. Just could you, just to review, you made a quick reference to what was the impact of this kind of open book, everyone share multiple choice exam in terms of the average grades?
Less than a 5% shift in like the quantitative, like I compared 2013 and 2012, and the numbers, I mean, that was a long time ago, but what I
Yeah.
remember was being blown away at how not different it was. I did a
Mm-hmm.
couple other things too that I should say that really improved my experience as instructor. One is I rebranded them as quizzes. So, I mean, there were 4 midterms, but I just called them quizzes.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hammered the work together. This is not a competitive thing. The course is not graded on a curve. And test anxiety dropped a lot. I mean, the students didn't think they were fun, but I had very few complaints and concerns. I mean, occasionally you write a question wrong and a student finds it, and then great, everybody gets a point. So I do allow for sort of that adversarial part of it, and it's built into the system. And the whole thing is sort of done with affection and good humor rather than like a stern wagging finger and a police operation to make sure the students aren't cheating. And I would say morale was pretty good. I mean, even in a big class where they're being evaluated a lot and where it seems like high pressure. And again, I was just talking with Carolyn yesterday, I think we're going to do about 6 of them in my intro course in the fall. Uh, and we'll throw out the lowest one, the lowest non-zero probably, so that they have to take them all. And we still haven't figured out a protocol for like late tests and stuff like that, because the other thing I don't want to get into is like doctor's notes. And with OSD, it's really easy. If somebody needs extra time, you just program that into their test right on myCourses. It's super easy to do once you learn the slightly clunky interface.
Thanks. Alejandra, I don't see Sun Young on yet. Are you able to start? Or
yeah, I'm chatting with her. She has serious technical problems to access Zoom right now. So I think I can start and see if she can join us while I'm presenting.
Okay, I'm not trying to rush this. I do want to leave some time for more questions and answers at the end. So maybe it's better if you start yours. I see some questions coming in for Jonathan, and after your presentation, we can go back to the Q&A. Okay.
So I'll share my screen with
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, let me do this. Okay. So can you see my screen? Yeah. Okay. So we are Sanyan Kim and Alejandra Barriales-Bouche from the Department of Languages, Literature, and Cultures, and we'll be talking about video assignments today. And we would like to thank you, Mike Fronda and Lucina Lack, for inviting us to discuss our project on video assignments with you today. This is supposed to be a presentation between Sanyan and me, so I'll try to do my best to cover what she was gonna do. Actually, she was gonna run the whole technical side of the presentation, but I'll try to do my best. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so this is our outline, the outline we prepared for the presentation today. First of all, we would like to talk to you about the motivation we had to use video assignments. Then we'd like to give you an overview of where to find video assignments on myCourses. And then we'll show you some projects that we prepare with this program. And at the end, we'll give you a brief walkthrough on myCourses and to show you how to set up different types of assignments on myCourses. So let's start with the motivation that we had. In a face-to-face environment, we wanted to use video assignments because we thought that this type of assignment will offer students extra practice in their oral skills, in their language, in the foreign language skills outside the class. And we also thought that it will help us as instructors to increase the variety of assignments in our classes. And now that we have moved to a remote learning environment, we still think that this is a very useful tool because we could replace in-class activities with online ones by using this tool. And this is a tool that can promote interactivity between the student and the instructor, and also among the students themselves. And if you use it in a remote learning environment, it can help you to foster a sense of community in the classroom. Now, where to find video assignment on myCourses? You need, even if you see assignments, video assignments, you don't need to go to assignments. You need to go to content on myCourses. And once you are in content, you need to create a new module to host your video assignment, or you can use a module you have created before. So once you are in a new module, you need to go to add existing activities, and a new menu will pop up, and then you have to choose create video assignment. That's where you find video assignments on myCourses. Now, how many types of assignments can you create with this tool? Well, first of all, you can create an individual assignment. Okay, then that's the first icon you have there. You could create a group assignment, and you can create a Q&A assignment. We are not going to be talking about the fourth type of assignment because this is something that we have not explored yet. That's interactive videos, and we haven't worked with that. So we'll skip that. Okay, so then what types of assignments have we prepared with this tool? Well, we prepare individual assignments. Most of our assignments have been individual assignments. First of all, in German classes, Sanyan asked students to present on a city, on a German city, on a German famous person, historical person. So this is something that she does, like we see here in the picture. The student presents to the classmates a topic on a German city. And then we both have created an assignment in which we ask the students to explain to their classmates an idiom in Spanish or in German in her case. And it's the same idea. What we like about this type of assignment is that the students are the teachers for other students, and they can explain course content to other students. Another type of assignment that we have prepared is a presentation on a controversial topic. And we usually design this assignment as a two-step assignment. In the first step of the assignment, the student needs to create a video, a short video, to give her opinion on a controversial topic. And in the second step of the assignment, the student needs to respond in another video to a classmate's opinion. So we like this activity because it really promotes interactivity between the students. And finally, we're going to be talking about the icebreaker. This is an activity that we both do at the beginning of our courses, all courses across all the levels. And we ask students to present, to introduce themselves to their classmates. And we really like this because we think that is an early assessment that not only asks the students to practice what they are learning in the class, but they can get to know each other early in the semester. And we think that this could be very useful in a remote learning environment to to simulate the atmosphere that we have in a face-to-face classroom. So we have prepared a video, but I'm not sure how to share the video, the sound of the video with you. I don't know.
When you click share screen, there's a share audio button.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah, it should
Share
be in like
screen.
view options.
Share screen, but I don't see it. No, I don't see it now. Oops. Okay, let me see again. I don't see the...
I think it's in participants.
Participants, I'll try that. No, I don't see it either there. Well, select. I'm not sure I can do that now. Audio settings, but I don't see. I'm sorry, but I cannot show you. What I'm doing is I'm gonna skip this, okay? And I mean, you can see the idea of the assignment. Okay, here is the transcript of what the student says. Okay, she introduced herself to the class, to their classmates. Then we would also like to talk about which features we like, particular features that we really like about this program. One is that you can leave timestamp comments. Here, when you see the green marks below the student's submission, that means that a comment has been left for the student to see. And this is very useful because we can also leave feedback in a video. Here you see the icon of the video. That means that you can leave a comment in a video format if you want. And for a language teacher, that's very useful because you can correct pronunciation. Then we like the ability to export grades to the gradebook directly, now that it's integrated in myCourses. And we like the feature, we like that students, if you activate peer review in your settings, students will have the possibility to see their classmates' videos and to leave comments either by video or through text. And finally, we like that now students have the possibility to include slides in their individual presentations. So if you are concerned about privacy issues, you have to know that students can only view comments that their classmates and instructors leave for them, and that they cannot see any comments that instructors leave for others. So those remain private. And now we're going to give you a brief walkthrough in myCourses to teach you how to set up the different types of assignments that we have mentioned before. Let me go to myCourses. Okay, I'll show you. Okay. So let's go to content. And we'll start here. Can you see my screen? Yeah, with the myCourses site. Okay. So then now we're gonna go to create a video assignment. And here we're gonna start by the individual assignment. What you need to do. You click on the first icon, as we mentioned before, and you add, always you need to add the name of the assignment. Let's call it test 1, for example. And you have to choose a due date. If you want, you can choose a due time. You have to choose the type of grade that you want to give to the assignment. Let's choose, for example, pass fail. And here you need to leave your instructions. You can leave instructions either by video or by text. And we haven't used auto analysis yet because this gives you a transcription of what the student says, but in language courses, we don't use this. And then you have the option of activate peer review. If you do that, students will be able to see each other's, their classmates' videos, and they will have to review a specific number of videos if you turn this on. So this is the video assignment. And now, very important, this is a very important thing. You cannot forget to click. Okay, let me see. You cannot forget to click on the assignment you have created. There's one, I think this was. If you want this to pop up in your screen, okay? So that's okay. Then let's go to the next type of assignment, which is a Q&A. Let's go to create a video assignment. And the first steps are very similar. You have to give a name. Let's go to Q&A. The first steps are similar. You need to give a name. Let's call it Q&A test, and then a due date as well. And you need to give a due time if you want. That's optional. Percentage, the same thing. Instructions. But what is different here is that the Q&A, it's a type of assignment that simulates the high stakes environment of an oral exam or an interview. So students are given by the instructor a set of questions and also a specific amount of time to reply to those questions. And they only have one chance to reply to the questions in a video. So here's where you add your questions to the Q&A. You can do that by video or through text. And if you want to add more questions, you keep clicking on add questions. And the recording mode can be, you can ask the students to record with their camera, or you can ask them to record also with their screen if you want to check they are not using, or they are not reading from a browser or a document. In the delay, you have to set up how many seconds you want to give the students to prepare their questions and to gather their thoughts before the recording starts. And then you have to set up a minimum recording time, a maximum recording time in seconds as well. The maximum recording time is a good idea to set it up, because otherwise you may receive very long submissions. Okay, and then the peer review works as we mentioned before. And if you want to make this assignment a low stakes assignment, and you want to give more than one chance to the student to reply to your question, you can click on allow retake, okay, in case you want to change the nature of the assignment. Okay, so then let's go to the third type. But before that, I want to show you, before moving on to group assignments, I would like to show you what I did this summer. It was the first time in my summer course online this summer. I wanted to try the Q&A for the first time. So students were learning the future tense in Spanish, and I recorded 3 questions asking them about the future plan. As you can see here on the left, you see my questions, and then you see on the right the student submission. As you can see, the student, I only received 1 video, and that's because all the 3 videos by the students are compiled in only 1 video when the instructor receives the submission. And I did that as a practice. I wanted the students to have a practice before the final oral exam in the course. And now we'll move on into group assignment. This is a part that Sanjan has prepared. So I'll try to walk you through this. But if you have questions, maybe if she can join us later, she can answer you in the chat. So once you have a group assignment, you need to, everything is similar to what I explained about the other types of assignments, but in the group assignment category, it's important that you need to create the groups in the assignment. And in order to do that, you have to click on manage groups, and you can select manual creation if that's what you want. And then you can create your own groups or have the program create groups randomly. That's a choice you have. Then you have to enter the number of groups you want to create. And then when you create groups, you need to drag and drop the names of the students into the boxes manually. Okay, that's how it will look like. And today we don't have more time, but if you would like to know more about how to manage grading or to manage the assignment, you want to have more details about this type of assignment, we have prepared a link to Bongo tutorials that Jenica Greenshaw and Haluk Tonke have prepared. And they have a great knowledge base that is now public, and you can find more tutorials there. And we, Sanjan and I, we have created a list of links to Bongo tutorials, both for instructors And for students, oops, sorry about that. Okay, I'll show you. That was too fast. So if you are interested in exploring this tool in the fall semester, you can go to this link or share the links with your students, and that will prepare you to work with the video assignment. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for listening. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer for both of us. Thank you.